So I've been thinking about this question, and we're going to spend a few weeks talking about this, and it's just, here's the question. If your money could talk, what would it say to you? I mean, think about it. If your money could actually talk, what would it say to you? Take a look at the screens and let's...
Thank you for calling Money. I'm here to give you financial advice to make your life better and you better at life. This is Money. How can I help you? Karen, what? Get out of here. Karen, we have not talked since your piggy bank days. How are you? Hello, this is Money. It's a great day to be green. Yes, the environment is important too. I was referring to green, the color of my shirt, which you cannot see, and the fact that I am the embodiment of money. I should get a better slogan. Absolutely, Kevin. I can tell you your net worth right now. It's nothing. Yeah, no, like 0.00. But listen, hey, even though you're technically worth nothing in dollars and cents, did I ever tell you how much our friendship means to me? It is this much. I don't know, Karen, at the end of the day, what's the real difference between the 10 and the 11 Pro X? Whoa, 3 lenses. We just have to tool around with your financial plan, but we can get it, all right? Yeah, your security code is 616. Oh, you just bought it just now. That was quick. Okay. Well, can we talk about your new plan? Karen? Karen, hello? It's weird as if you hung up the moment I said plan. You spent $72.34. Can I just say, that's a lot of McFlurries for any one person, you know? Listen, Sonia, I know we've been on the rocks, but I don't want to give up on us, okay? I'm just asking that you check up on me every now and again. If you don't talk to me, I can't help you. Leon, hey, oh my gosh. That's a lovely boat, man. A power boat for a power man, and that is you, buddy. Yeah, You want to buy it? That's a good joke. Oh, you're serious. Okay. Well, if we do want to go ahead with it, we're going to have to make some changes. So that probably means no more food, shelter, or water. Yeah. No, you're right. It's a gorgeous boat, just like you. Okay. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later. You bought that boat. Look, it's your money at the end of the day, but I'm just trying to give you advice to help your Washingtons become Lincolns. You feel me? And then those Lincolns can maybe one day become Hamiltons. And then those Hamiltons can become Ulysses S. Grants. That's the $50 bill. And then those Ulysses can become Benjamins. Woo, woo, woo! Oh man, Karen, you're the best. No, you are. No, you are. Man, I'm so glad we took the time to reconnect. Let's do it again sometime soon. How about tomorrow?
What would your money say if your money could talk? It'd say things like, yeah, I know. Or, yeah, I should have known. Or, no, I shouldn't have. And here's the thing. You're going to see this in the passage that we're going to look at in a few minutes. In the New Testament of the Bible, it's the second half. Jesus talks about money more than heaven and hell combined. In fact, Jesus wrote 38 parables. 38. 16 of them were about possessions. Were about money. And by the way, here's the irony. He never asked for any. Never asked for money. You see, the way we handle money is a mirror. It reflects something deeper. It reflects what's important to us and ultimately where you and I put our trust. And the shocker isn't what money would say. It's how much of it that Jesus has already said. And that's what I want to take a look at with you today. In fact, I want to answer this question. Why so much talk? Why 16 of 38 parables about money? And here's what I would suggest to you. Because Jesus wasn't after money, but he was after you. And here's the thing. There are 2 things that God is always going to compete with when it comes to your affection for God. Your time and your resources. You know why? Because those are the two things we hold dearest to us. You want to know the second reason? Because this is the one topic that people hate when I talk about in church. So how do you do it in a way that's life-giving and fun? Money can talk. It might start here. Ready? Here's what I think money would say. I can add meaning to your life, but I'm not the meaning of life. One more time. I can add meaning to your life, but I'm not the meaning of life. Can I tell you, I have never heard money talked about in any of the several hundred funerals I've ever done. Never. In fact, we know something, but we don't really like to talk about it, and it's this. Money makes a terrible master, but a great means to an end. Money makes a terrible master, but it's a great means to an end. And here's the thing. Using money as a means to an end is what gives it meaning. Using money as a means to an end is what gives it meaning. And by the way, the same is true for you. If you want to live a meaningful life, you have to become a means to an end that's not you. You have to decide that my life, the purpose of my life, and my time, and my talents, and my resources are best served for something outside of me. Think about it. Who would you want to hang out with in the lobby? The people who walked up to you, said hello to you, hugged you, heard something that was going on in your life, made a meal, showed up, sent cookies, walked alongside of you, said, "Hi, good morning, my name is Dan. Just so you know, life's all about me." You wouldn't want to do that. Makes no sense, because we learn as we grow and as we look at the world around us, particularly through a lens of faith, we learn that a meaningful life, to live a meaningful life, you and I are a means to an end. That's not really about us. That's exactly what Jesus illustrated in one of his most confusing but most brilliant parables in Luke chapter 16. Now, I need to give you a little tidbit of context that I did not give the first service. How many years did Jesus live? 33. How old was he when he started his ministry? 30. Where was Jesus born? Bethlehem. Where did he grow up? Nazareth. 30 years he lived in Nazareth. Nazareth had a barter system for life. Jereva, you have something that would serve my family well, and I have something that would serve your family well. Hey, do you mind if we exchange? That's the mindset. That's the lens through which Jesus is seeing his worldview. In the big cities, something different was happening. I don't care about you. I don't care about anything about you, but you have something I need and I'll pay for it. Do you see the difference? One is grounded relationally and the other is simply a transaction. Jesus' lens through this is, how do I leverage what I have to serve into your life and vice versa, so everybody's needs are met and we can accomplish what God's called us to do? Think about that in the context of this parable. Ready? Jesus told his disciples there was a rich man whose manager was accused of wasting his possessions. So he called him in and he asked him, "What's this I hear about you? Give an account for your management, because you cannot be manager any longer." The manager said to himself, What do I do now? My master's taken away my job. I'm not strong enough to dig, and I'm ashamed to beg. I know what I'll do, so that when I lose my job here, people will welcome me into their houses." So he called each one of his master's debtors, and he asked the first, "How much do you owe my master?" 900 gallons of olive oil, he replied. The manager told him, "Take your bill, sit down quickly, and make it 450. Then he asked the second, "How much do you owe?" 1,000 bushels of wheat, he replied. And he told him, "Okay, take your bill, make it 800. The master commended the dishonest manager because he had acted shrewdly. For the people of this world are more shrewd in dealing with their own kind than are the people of the light. I tell you, use worldly wealth to gain friends for yourselves. You leverage it in your relationships so that when it's gone, you will be welcomed into eternal dwellings. Ooh. This is hard. The master commended the dishonest manager because he had acted shrewdly. So this rich man discovers that his manager's been wasting his wealth. He fires him, but gives him a chance to wrap up his accounts. And the guy says, I'm too weak to dig. I'm too proud to beg. So I know what I'll do. I'll go to every debtor and I'll reduce the bills. You read it. And then the master commends him because he acts shrewdly. And we look at that and we go, if I was the master, I would not have commended him. How dare you cut the debts in half? Don't you wish the IRS would do that? Right? And here's Jesus' commentary. He says, look, the people of this world are more shrewd in dealing with their own kind than are the people of the light. In other words, why do the people of the world take care of each other more? It's not supposed to be that way. We are supposed to sort of set the example. And here's what the guy does. The manager, he uses his limited time and the opportunity wisely to secure a better future. He says, look, if I'm going to leave my job, I better at least have some people in my corner that I know are going to take care of me. I better make sure I have the relationships that matter so I can kind of, survive here. And Jesus says basically to us, he says, look, you and I ought to do the same. Use our limited time and our opportunity to impact eternity. Because here's the deal. Life is short. Life is short. And Jesus is coming along. He's saying, look, you want to do something with the resources I've given you? Your time, your talent, your possessions and all that? Start asking yourself how you can use those things to impact something that's bigger than you. Something that's greater than you. In fact, he says in Luke 16:9, use worldly wealth to gain friends for yourselves, so that when it's gone, you will be welcomed into eternal dwellings. Here's basically what Jesus is saying. Leverage your money for something that's bigger than you. Leverage your money for something that's bigger than you. Because money is a means, not an end. And your right now resources can make a forever difference. Did you know that? Your right now resources can make a forever difference. If you come to the place of saying to yourself, my money is a means. My resources are a means, not an end. Here's a question that you can be thinking about. How can I leverage more of what I have as a means to an end that's not me? I don't know how you do that. In my house, we live on a percentage. We live on a percentage of our income. We give a percentage of that away. And we use our stuff for other people. We say yes when we're asked for help. I remember a time that Jill and I moved, and we had our garage was filled with furniture. And I got wind that a single mom had an apartment in the community. She was struggling. She had enough to make the rent, put some food on the table. But I found out they were sitting on the floor. They had no table, no nothing. I said to Jill, see all the furniture in the garage? We don't need that. We'll figure something out. Get a hold of that mom. Let her know we're coming. Let's drop off all that furniture. She said, really? I said, yeah. And here's the thing. We simply made the decision to turn our stuff into stories. So that someday that woman would say, when we were at our point of need, God showed up. God did something that she couldn't have done for herself. I have a dream in this community. I'm just going to share it with you. There's absolutely no reason any child in Pinckney should go to bed hungry. And I'm going to be working like gangbusters to find out who those families are. And as long as Shalom is here, I'm not letting kids go to bed hungry at night, okay? Will you be with me in that? Right? Because we can turn our stuff into stories. Last week was a record number of students in our student ministries, middle school and high school, hearing about God's purpose for their lives, how they're fearfully and wonderfully made, that God has something for them. I want to pour into that. Our kids' ministries down at the end of the hall are exploding right now. We can turn stuff into stories. And I have to ask you, do you want more stuff or do you want more stories? Because ultimately, it comes down to this whole passage that Jesus is showing us, comes down to this principle of trust. He basically saying, look, whoever can be trusted with little can be trusted with much. And to move on, if you're dishonest with little, you'll be dishonest with much. And if you're not trustworthy with someone else's property, who's going to give you property of their own? And here's the point. Here's the big idea here. Money, your money, is not just a tool, it's a test. Money is not just a tool, it is a test, and it will test ultimately what is really important to you and where have you and I put our trust. Is it the temporary things of life? Or is it the eternal things that matter? Because here's the thing, okay? If you're going to leave it behind, you're not the owner anyway. You're the manager. If you're going to leave it behind, you're not the owner anyway. You are just the manager. And so if money could talk, it would say, look, I'll still be here when you're gone. I'm still going to be here. And the moment you think you own me, I own you. And God comes along and says, look, you and I, we're just managers of his creation. We're just managers of the resources that God's given to us. And God gives us a little bit of time and a little portion of creation. And he says, look, manage this well. Manage it for something that's bigger than you. Manage it for something that's going to outlive and outlast you. Take all that you have and open up your hands and say, God, turn my stuff into stories. Stories that people will tell to their children and their children. Stories about having babies, living on a fixed income, and your car breaks down and you don't know what to do. And within minutes, your phone rings and it's a friend and they're saying, hey, we have this van. We're going to give it to you. What? Somebody turned their stuff into a story. Or you find out that somebody in your community, in your need, your family, or whomever, they have a need. And you show up and you meet that need. I was going to tell you at this point in the message that we have these bags out in the lobby to prepare meals for some families in Pinckney that have need. We have this big stack of bags. I'm sorry, guys, they're gone. The first service took them all. So we'll find out if there's more families out there, and we'll meet the needs. But in fact, at the Thanksgiving potluck that's going to happen in a few weeks, you need to be at that at 4 o'clock. Because one thing you're going to hear about is a ministry in Flint that provides prenatal care, prenatal health care to moms who cannot afford health care. And we're going to have a tree set up with tags on it. You'll be able to take those tags home and get some gifts for those moms who otherwise would not get anything for Christmas. Because we're committed here at Shalom to turning our stuff into stories. Turning our stuff into stories. We're managers of this. And Jesus' reminder of what money would say if money could talk is, look, I'm a means, not an end. And I'm a tool and a test. Don't forget that. And I can add meaning to your life, but I'm not the meaning of life. And so here's some questions I want you to think about. What do you want people to celebrate about you someday? What stories do you want them to tell? What breaks your heart that you can actually do something about? And what do you want people to thank you for in the end? Because here's what you have to know when it comes to money. If you don't decide ahead of time, your appetites will decide for you. If you don't decide ahead of time, your appetites will decide for you. And you already know what that looks like. Accumulation, consuming, upgrades and fashion and a house full of stuff. And here's a reality check. You hear people say, he ate, she drank, he was merry, then he died. So, live for yourself, and you only have yourself to show for yourself. Live as a means to God's end, and you will have stories that outlive you. Live as a means to God's end, and you will have stories that outlive you. So, if being a means to an end is what gives life meaning, to what ends do I want my life to be a means? You got to wrestle that down. If being a means to an end is what gives life meaning, to what ends do I want my life to be a means? Remember that parable? Remember this last line when Jesus was finished teaching? This is what he says. The Pharisees, those were really judgy people and hyper-religious, by the way. The Pharisees who loved money heard all of this and they were sneering at Jesus. Think about the Bible for a minute. How many of you have heard the name Paul? Matthew, Luke, John. See these guys? Do you know their names? Me either. Do something with your money that outlasts you and lives and leaves a legacy in others. And in that, you will find unspeakable joy. Let me pray for you. Thank you, God, for this day. Thanks for the opportunity to be together and to think about what you've given to us as a means to an end that is greater than us. And God, I pray as I've been praying every single day for the last almost 4 years, God, use us. Use Shalom to introduce to this community and the communities around us what unbelievable love looks like. Until every child goes to bed with a full stomach and marriages are being put back together And middle schoolers and high schoolers are finding community and such a sense of purpose and belonging. And folks in the golden years of life, some of whom are by themselves, could say, I may be by myself, but I'm not alone because I have this community of faith that loves me and cares about me and notices me. God, use us as a means to an end to something bigger than us. Our time, our talent. And today, as we think about it, the resources that you've given to us. And God, for all of it, we'll say thank you today. So Lord, our ushers are going to come, and I pray that you'd use every dollar that's being given today to bring a message of life and of hope and of joy to Pinckney, to Livingston County, and ultimately around the world. Use every single dollar to that end and use us as a part of it. I pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.